Carolina quarterback Baker Mayfield on the practice field today after a so-so weekend. Things might be a bit bumpy as Mayfield works on familiarizing himself with Matt Rule's offense and shaking off that off-season rust. The 27-year-old will face Jacoby Brissett in Week 1 as he gets an immediate revenge game against his former team. That is, if he can win the QB1 job in that competition with Sam Darnold, pardon me. After practice Monday, our NFL insider Josina Anderson asked him about facing Brissett in Week 1.
That honestly is none of my business. I don't play against the other quarterback. I know it's the most cliche thing to say, but that's just the truth. When it comes down to it, I'm game planning against their defense. And if I'm playing or not, I'm trying to help this team win. And that's my mindset going into it, so I got to keep getting better. But I'm not focused about Week 1 right now. I'm working on each day, each install, and continuing to get better. And we'll handle that when it comes. But for now, it's about getting the Panthers better and our offense continuing to get better as well. No, I mean, I'm paid to play quarterback and lead this team, and not to make decisions on anything other than that.
And let's welcome in our NFL insider Josina Anderson, who is in Spartanburg, South Carolina at Panthers Camp. Rainy Panthers Camp, as it turns out, but Josina's staying nice and dry. Josina, I mean, Baker's playing it cool, like it's just another game, but you know he wants to face his old team in that opener and hand them their first L of the season.
Oh, absolutely. First of all, presuming that he ends up being named the starter for the Carolina Panthers, I can already see him pacing up and down the sidelines, being demonstrative with his hand gestures and getting his team riled up, and his new, teammate Robbie Anderson and all of kind of the kumbaya vibes that are going between the two of them now. But absolutely, he gave the answer that he should give, but I don't necessarily feel that presents all of the gusto in his heart relative just to all of the effort that he put into and all of the achievements that he was able to get out of being the quarterback for the Browns and then having his exit just end the way that it did. It would be understandable for anyone to have emotions in your gut and belly and fuel about the situation, and nonetheless a soap opera-ish type of headline for the NFL Week 1 as well.
Josina, how has Baker looked so far, and how do you see this shaping up in terms of a battle for that top quarterback spot?
Well, listen, I mean, on one hand, despite the ending in Cleveland, the general manager for the Browns did do him a favor to a degree, right, by trading him, because he didn't have to do that at the time. And the time did allow Baker Mayfield to essentially parachute into this offense and get more time to learn Matt Rule's system. And the interesting irony of that is that the Browns are the first team that they face. Now, in the Let's Get Together Saturday, or whatever the NFL is calling what this past weekend was, Baker Mayfield, I believe, was 7 for 18 according to local reports, and 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So was looking understandably and predictably choppy as he comes back from the shoulder and also being in a different offense. And today, the first day in pads, he mentioned, just wanting to take it slower. He did have a touchdown that I saw in the back right corner pocket of the end zone. And just the fact that he's feeling more comfortable with it. So that's what I saw. Though, if you talk to some of the local people around here, they feel like he hasn't necessarily had a sizable moving away from Sam Darnold. So, the results of the competition is still, obviously we're waiting for that to be announced. But I have to say, just on the sheer trade, the storylines of Week 1, it's going to be hard to see Baker Mayfield not the starter for Week 1.
Yeah, and mention, too, the fact that P.J. Walker and Matt Corral are also there. A couple of quarterbacks vying for one of those backup positions on that roster. All right, wide receiver Robbie Anderson, you alluded to it. He's someone who was vocally against Baker Mayfield coming to Carolina initially. He put it out on social media when it was just coming out that he could possibly go. He said no, long with multiple O's at the end of it. Josina, you asked him about.
Were you counting the O's? Were you counting the O's? Oh.
What were there? 5 O's there? 6 O's on that? That's a long no.
Something like that, right?
Yeah, you had a chance to speak to Robbie Anderson today after practice and asked him about his relationship with Baker. Let's take a listen.
So when you think about just the energy of a Baker, too, because obviously you're covering him from Cleveland, one of the things I noticed when he was drafted number 1 overall, and he walked past me at the Combine in Indy, was he just walked past me with that little, swag walk. Yeah. And it's hard not to notice that energy and that chutzpah that he has. Yeah. What do you think of that energy relative to the impact it could have on this team just from that alone?
I vibe it a lot. I rock with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love that he has that confidence and that passion and that like that prove it attitude, you know what I'm saying? I think that it translates to a lot of other people, that's similar to my characteristics. So I definitely like that a lot about him.
Josina, do you get the sense that he's coming around on Baker Mayfield and that relationship is going to be a fruitful one?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can, first of all, I thought it was just amazing. He did the entire interview in sunglasses. So I think he's giving you a little bit of his vibe right there, right? I mean, I felt like I should have brought my sunglasses out for the interview. But anyways, yeah, I mean, I do feel like he is coming along and he recognizes and appreciates the energy. And one of the things that he did say is that he feels like, per his words, that the Browns turn their back on Baker Mayfield. And to that extent, there's somewhat of a kinship that he's developing with Baker Mayfield, because at times, Robbie Anderson has had to kind of fight for his own, so to speak, in this league. And he can identify with that. And at the end of the day, Robbie, who was a 1,000-plus receiver 2 years ago, is just trying to get back to that same sort of production. And whoever's going to help him do that, I think he's going to be in favor of. And at the end of the day, I feel like Robbie is going to continue to, put himself forth as a professional, despite, an occasional comment here and there.
Yeah, guys who felt they've been cast off, looking to prove for each other just how good and valuable they actually are. Obviously, the biggest weapon on this offense is running back Christian McCaffrey, who has had 2 injury-filled seasons. You had the chance to speak to him. What has McCaffrey look like early on?
I mean, just, that burst of energy, the benefit of coming into, camp relatively healthy and trying to put, the past few years of intermittent injuries behind him relative to how he first started his career injury-free. And when you think about Christian McCaffrey and you see his frame taken in the picture, I mean, the guy looks like he has 1% body fat. And, over time, just with the way that he's used kind of like as a switchblade weapon, somewhat similar to Debo Samuel, but in their own different ways. I mean, that was Debo's concern, that over time you can get wear and tear. And so I asked Christian McCaffrey about ways in which he can think about preserving his career, and how even in my own track career at Carolina, I felt like ballet extended my career. You saw that even a running back like Eddie George did a ballet, I believe. And so he talked about really kind of doubling his efforts on trying to be more flexible and things like that to extend his career, and also to just change up his very, very infamous pregame routine and other things of sorts, when to back off and things like that. So I thought that was very interesting, and it'll be notable to see how that plays out relative to whether he can have a 16-game season. 17 games now, showing my age.
Well, and yeah, he's played just 10 games in the past 2 seasons. So obviously Panthers fans and certainly fantasy football fans hoping that McCaffrey can get back to his productive ways. She is CBS Sports HQ NFL Insider Josina Anderson at Carolina Panthers camp for us today. Thanks, Josina. Stay dry over there. In terms of our training camp schedule, we are at the Panthers and the Rams today. Jonathan Jones is with the Rams. Colts and Chargers coming up on Tuesday. And then we have the Broncos on Wednesday, Bengals and Ravens on Thursday. And then, of course, a Pro Football Hall of Fame Pete Prisco will be there for us on Friday.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.